Hey guys, so today we're going to be taking a look at how the meta shifted from 8.6 into 8.7. I don't know if you've noticed, but games seem to be a lot quicker now, so things that can win the lane phase are going to be a lot better. New Irelia, by the way, seems pretty good, and we'll talk more about her when we get top lane at the end of the video. But anyway, as always, list timestamps are down below if you would rather skip to your role or if you want to read and see what the patch is all about. AD carry is going to kick us off as always, and it hasn't changed a ton, but we are seeing a few more lane phase ADs get better and more fighting as well. So our top four are still Kha'Zix, Caitlyn, Xayah, but I also think Jhin edges in here as well. Kha'Zix is honestly in a league of her own. Nobody can keep up with her and top of the role by an absolute mile. She is such a bugger to play against, and it's getting worse. The more people are learning her and learning what to build. Building a death dance and just like rage base second means she gets her Q upgrade so much earlier into the game now, and the damage from that is nuts. In faster games as well, that is ideal, right? You can fight in the lane phase, but like upgraded Q does a lot more than other AD carries on these same items. Also, you should really try the Doran's Ring start. It lets you push a trade and spam your Q or W way more. It sounds really odd, but it really works. The other one we're going to look at properly is Jhin, and with games getting faster and lane phase meaning a bit more, Jhin fits in a lot better with the game. It's honestly kind of this rage bait build though, like that takes it to another level and puts him so high up. The amount of AD that you can get from this with your passive, whether it is bugged or not, is absolutely insane right now. It can be a little bit awkward to get the 6 stacks that you really need to make this amazing, but it can be killer at the same time. And also remember, he's one of the best at fighting in the lane phase. The other two we mentioned are Caitlyn and Xayah, and Caitlyn can dominate the lane phase with the strong support, especially Morgana. The lane is brutal, but basically just wave clears, farms, and gets items to carry with. Xayah is another one with Rakan that is a really strong lane. She can survive these new assassins though with her ultimate and pumps out a lot of damage. A bit of a different honorable mention to end the role. Misfortune is a lot better now with the lane phase meaning a bit more. She can do a lot with her early damage. You can poke with your Q, kind of just win from really far away with that, and finish them off with your ultimate afterwards. You don't scale as well as other champions. It's a lot different. It's more like early focus, but it's much better in 8.7. I think mid lane still the most changes this patch though, and you can play a ton of different things right now. Assassins are 100% back though. We're gonna highlight Zed, Fizz, Swain, and the fourth one really honestly is up to you and what you play, but I think Taliyah is worth a mention. There are two really big changes for Zed this patch, which together have made his win rate spike so far. The biggest was probably the Tabby nerf. 10 armor away from that means that lethality by now is actually reducing their armor, which is really good. You can't counter these AD assassins by rushing Tabby anymore, basically. But the second thing was the direct buff. 10% more damage on your Q past the first target hit. It makes both his poke and his wave clear a lot better. He's always been good versus passive mages that we have at the moment, but he can get ahead now, roam, and demolish games that are ending a bit quicker, and he can do all of that a lot easier. As we said, the other one is going to be Taliyah, and she is one of the mages actually that Zed typically destroys, but she is still the queen of solo queue climbing. She's kind of like Twisted Fate really. She has sick wave clear, so you can basically push and roam, get your team ahead, and you're going to win the game that way. Her ultimate obviously lets you do that even easier as well, but I think like with more aggressive bot lanes right now, it makes a lot more sense. When they're going to be fighting a bit more, it's just a lot easier to roam and actually like get something out of it. But she is just such a good solo queue champion. A lot of people use her to climb because she has such high damage, high poke, high burst, and can control the lane, influence side lanes. She does it all really. I know she isn't that common. She isn't a pick for everybody, I guess, but she seems a little bit better in 8.7. Fizz was one of the others we mentioned. Is a kind of an AP version of Zed, preys on a lot of mages, can get ahead, snowball out of control, and roam around to become really hard to play against. The Swain nerfs did hit him, but he is still a really solid pick. If he gets ahead, you're in a lot of trouble. When he has the ultimate on, you can't even get near him. It's pretty stupid really, and he does a lot of damage. Talon is another assassin that is much better, so he is at honorable mention today. Similar to Zed, but more focused on the roaming, obviously over walls and stuff, rather than just straight up winning lane, I think. The Tabby nerfs obviously helped a lot, but like he's actually got one of the highest early game win rates now out of any mid lane in 8.7 so far, so he can snowball a lot easier than other champions. Okay, third role, jungle. Way more open now. Gank heavy junglers are back, assassins are back, damage dealers are back, but the usual good champions are still going to be there. You could have so many champions in here, seriously, like Xayah, Skarner, Jax, Master Yi, but the ones we're going to look at today are Warwick, Kha'Zix, Evelynn, and Nocturne. Evelynn is still one of the most banned junglers next to Kha'Zix just because she can gank everybody, be annoying to play against, and then nuke you down and seriously carry. Her win rate has only increased slightly in 8.7, but her ban rate is the thing that is climbing every single day, and that normally is a good sign something is really strong. You've kind of got to give an Evelynn a lot of respects, like play smart, ward properly, a little bit deeper as well if you want to beat her, and none of those things sound like my solo queue teammates, which is why she is so good. If she does get fed, she's a lot like Kha'Zix as well, can actually carry hard now with her new ultimate, and she's not going to fall off either. Honestly, the health regen in her stealth I think is proper annoying. It's one of the big things that's really underrated. You get her low, she's going to run off, come back a little while later, surprise you with full health again. Nocturne might seem like a bit of a surprise, but he has been buffed 3 patches in a row now, and they aren't actually small buffs either. 8.5, we had a better heal on his passive, that heal proccing more often, a faster and easier to hit Q, and the biggest thing was his ultimate vision denial going up to 6 seconds. That time, like 6 seconds, is such a long time in a team fight. It's actually ridiculous. It gives him way more power now. Of those ones anyway, in 8.6, we had his ultimate base damage increasing and his ratio going up on that to 150% of your bonus AD. And in 8.7, you get another 5 AD when you're on the trail of your Q. That is a total of 60 AD now ranked 5. So as you can see, good buffs basically, and Nocturne is a sick ganker. He can like burst super hard, Tabby's got nerfed, and he has been buffed a lot recently, plus he can really focus down these squishy supports or AD carries. Warwick again, bug fix or not, it didn't really affect him. Still monster, and if anything, quicker games actually makes him even better than before because he kind of falls off a little bit as you get through the game. Kha'Zix is actually better as well after the Tabby nerfs, which mean he can nuke people down a lot easier. Still a pain in the ass to deal with using the stealth between bushes. Xayah is going to be the honorable mention for junglers, and there are a few reasons why he is better. So first of all, Tabby nerfs. He goes full AD to go nuts, and less armor is more damage. Secondly, quicker games. Jhin is actually a monster early to mid game when he can properly burst people and when teams are not grouped up. That shift in the meta and the time and stuff definitely suits him. When we're looking at supports, we definitely have some sensor stuff around, but winning lane and fighting is a lot more rewarding. So having like a mix of both is ideal. The top 4 would be Janna, Rakan, Nami, and Morgana. Morgana is honestly a very good pick in any game right now and is part of one of the best lanes with Caitlyn. Even with other AD carries though, her setup is awesome. A lot of people can abuse that. You can fight a lot in the lane phase. You have a lot of kill pressure, so you can get ahead. You can also stop a lot of fights though with your black shield or binding a jungler when they're coming to gank and stuff to stop it. You fit this more like active lane phase ready. People also underestimate how important a black shield is for team fights. Giving that to an AD carry is like 5 seconds of free damage where you don't have to worry, you can't engage on them, you can't catch them with any crowd control. Overall, Morgana is a very good carry support. Like yes, you are kind of defensive as well, but you can still be there to protect your carry, I guess, but you can do both. Nami is very similar actually. She's less about the picks and more about the fighting in the lane phase. She does rush a sensor normally, so you have that extra damage boost for AD carry. For an AD like Caitlyn or Xayah, that sensor is honestly massive. The thing is, you also have really good high base damage though, so you can fight in the lane phase. You poke first with your W, which is healing you as well. You bubble, you ignite, and they're going to disappear. I always say this, but Nami has a very good kit. You can use it to get stuck in and fight, or you can use it to keep your team alive, and having both sides of that means she's good in pretty much every game. The reason you pick her over Janna or Lulu or something is purely because of her lane phase though. It's so much stronger than these guys. She can fight a lot more. She has more crowd control, more setup, whereas Janna or like Lulu are going to be there for team fights. Speaking of Janna, with more assassins around, Janna is going to be one of the few champions who can actually normally keep her team alive through it. Also, she's actually going to be a little bit better. Rakan is also there to protect his team, but in a little bit of a different way. But Kha'Zix jumps in, you press R, you charm him, and your team can burst him down. He is a massive playmaking support though on 8.7. Better now with other AD carries, not just Xayah after the buffs, which is really important, and he even does a lot of damage. Speaking of damage, Bran does even more. He is my honorable mention for this patch if you want to play something that can actually carry a game. He does insane damage. I would probably go for him before killing the AD in 2v2s. That is how dangerous he is, which is really weird. They buffed your passive damage a little while ago. That's even better now with the new Leandries as well. So a combination of everything together, quicker games, lane phase meaning a bit more, makes Bran better. The final role then with the top lane, it hasn't changed as much into 8.7, a few picks here and there, but mostly just a lot of bruisers. You've got like Fiora and Camille the standard, but you've also got Darius, Tryndamere, Sion at the top, and I think Irelia even creeps up there as well. I don't think Irelia is broken, but she has the potential to be. There's kind of a lot of weird stuff in her kit that once you get to grips with or you master it, she is going to be insane. The mark system, if you use it properly, can let you jump around a ton, doing a lot of extra damage and keeping you alive, and I think that can really be a difference. A good ultimate in a team fight as well can disarm and trap an entire team, reducing their damage output by a ton, especially if you can combine a stun on top of it, so you have a lot of like hidden utility. If you think about it, if an AD carry cannot attack because they're disarmed, that is a real good thing for your team, and also a multi-person stun is nuts if you can hit it, and that is a big if. Her kit now also scales even better than before, I think, with her passive. Her win rate is really good late game if you can get there. Rage Bait, by the way, is an amazing item for her as well. I think this is going to be a thing where like bad Irelia players don't really have a good win rate at all, but a really good Irelia player is going to stomp over everybody. Now Tryndamere is going to be a bit of a different one, and it's not just Conqueror, but that keystone is ridiculous on him, so it is has in part a lot to do with Conqueror. I know he's not as common, but you can abuse Bone Plating and Chrysalis in the Resolve tree for more lane phase power. You have Conqueror as well to smack people about. His lane phase is just like so much better now after the changes, and you're giving this notorious late game champion a better start to the game. The killer is a new rage bait though, actually. It sounds a little bit strange, right? Because it gives so much AD now though, you end up critting for an absolute ton, plus even more attack speed. I think everything just seems to have aligned for him at the same time in 8.7, and he is a lot better for face rolling solo queue. Darius is another one where Conqueror on him is just nuts. It makes his lane phase even more deadly, and you can get ahead pretty easy right now and stomp your lane. Last one in the top 4 was Sion, like the best tank choice really. You've got some decent damage, good crowd control, decent poke, and insane engage, which you can use down lanes to get a few easy kills. Aatrox is a lot like Tryndamere, so he's going to be the honorable mention, the last one we're going to talk about. One of the best with Conqueror, lets him duel way more, and his early game is much better now. See a kind of theme with Conqueror. You're also using that new Rage Blade, which is ridiculously good on him, and like everything about that rework he's probably happy with. Like the percentage AD, the attack speed is great. I honestly think that this new Bone Plating and Chrysalis combo is making all these champions way too good at dueling with Conqueror in the lane phase. When you put those 3 runes together, it just kind of gets crazy. So that is going to wrap up a look at 8.7. Let me know who you're playing more this patch, but thanks for watching, and for now, I'll leave you with the robots.